Albert Dürer was a painter, engraver, printmaker, mathematician, and theorist from Nuremberg, Germany. He lived from May 21st, 1471 to April 6, 1528, dying at age 56 from an unknown illness. He was married to Agnes Frey at age 23 and had no children. His father was Albert Dürer the Elder, and his mother was Barbara Holper. One of his oil paintings is Feast of the Rose Garlands, one of his engravings is Conversion of Paul, and one of his woodcuts is the opening of the 5th and 6th seals. His oil paintings were made from 1490 to 1527, some made within the same year, some took 3 years, such as Lot and His Daughters, made from 1496 to 1499. His engravings were made within the same year to 5 years, such as St. George on Foot, made from 1500 to 1505. His woodcuts were made within the same year to 3 years, such as Christ on the Mount of Olives, made from 1497 to 1500. After 3 months of his marriage, he went to Italy to study more art techniques, then went back to Nuremberg, then went to Italy a second time, and then traveled to many places such as the Netherlands. In his last days, he worked on geometry and sketches. A lot of his artworks were very detailed, but the reason why engravings took so long is because you have to be very careful with the needles. You don't want to press too hard or else you mess up, but you also need to puncture the material. I don't know if it's true or not, but praying hands that they're of his brother's hands because his family only had enough money to send one kid to art school. So when Albert became famous, he told his brother he was going to send him to art school. But by that time, his hands were so damaged from working in the mines, he couldn't. So they were supposed to be his brother's hands.
Okay.
And I am done.
Okay, you are done?
Yeah.
All right.
What were Albert Dürer's mediums? What did he use to make his art?
Well, he mostly used different woods, and he used copper and different metals, mostly copper most of the time, and then he used a lot of oil paints.
With the wood he carved into the wood, or was he a sculptor?
He used needles and to carve into both the woods and the metals.
About how big was most of his work?
About that big.
So pretty small.
Yeah.
Why did you choose this particular topic for your project?
Well, I've always been interested in art since my mom is an art teacher.
Yeah.
And so when I had to choose a topic, I asked her who are some of her favorite German artists. And so I looked at a couple of them, but I liked Albert because I thought his art was an expression of the world around him. I thought that would go in with the whole German culture project.
Do you think the life he lived was typically German?
I think it was typically Renaissance because his father was a goldsmith. He married his master's daughter. He was an apprentice when he was younger, and his father mostly wanted him to be a goldsmith instead of an artist. But Albert went along with his dream.
Did Albert's brother become a goldsmith like his dad wanted?
No, he was a miner.
What do you think his most famous artwork is?
Probably Praying Hands or Adam and Eve.
Why do you think his work endures still today? Why do people still look at those artworks?
His art was very detailed, and I think it was an expression of his time and his experience around him, and I think it's quite beautiful.
What did he look like?
He had really long brown hair and a brunette mustache and a long brunette beard.
Did he have I know he didn't have any kids, but did he have very many brothers and sisters?